Hey everybody, let's talk about money. We call it Money 101, the fundamentals of money. And most of you have played sports before. You know what a playbook is. It's kind of plays designed for success, whether it's a touchdown, a goal, or some other type of play. And that's what we're going to kind of talk to you about, ways that you could eventually achieve financial success in a broadly defined topic. Now, one of the core concepts that we want to teach is we call it living within your means. And here's some extreme examples that regardless of how much money you make, if you don't spend less than what you make, you could wind up in deep financial straits. So here's some famous examples. I'm sure we have some football fans out there. You probably know Antonio Brown. He's potentially a Hall of Famer. He made 7 Pro Bowls, won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. He made $80 million from his NFL salary, and he had extra money in endorsements. But yet he went bankrupt. Bankrupt is when you owe people money, more money than what you have, and you don't pay what's promised. For example, let's say a mortgage payment. Here's some other extreme examples. Curt Schilling, another potential Hall of Famer in baseball. He earned $115 million from his various teams that he worked for, Phillies, the White Sox, some other ones, plus endorsements. And he also wasn't smart with his money. He set up a company after his playing career was over. He took out a $50 million loan, guaranteed it with his personal assets. That company went bankrupt. He lost $50 million. I'm a fan of Toni Braxton, a great musician, 7-time Grammy winner, sold more than 70 million records. And she not only went bankrupt once, but twice. Signed some bad record deals, had some bad management. So that's the point, that even if you make $1,000, 10,000, 100,000, $1 million, if you don't spend less than what you make, you could wind up in financial trouble. And here's some other people from popular culture that didn't go bankrupt, but they weren't smart with their money. And that's what we want you to be. We want you to be smart with whatever money that you're making. I'm sure you heard of Jessica Simpson. Obviously, she's a musician, reality TV and movie star, but she actually made most of her money from her clothing business. But during the Great Recession, and actually during COVID, when people weren't shopping too much, her company got in trouble. She also engaged in lavish spending. So her company got in trouble. She didn't go bankrupt, but at age 42, she had to ask her mother for money. And not only that, she has no working credit card. So we're going to talk about credit at some point. And being responsible with your credit is one of the things we want to teach. I'm a huge fan of Johnny Depp and Nicolas Cage, great actors. They also earned a ton of money, but spent it foolishly. So here's Johnny Depp, he made $650 million over the course of his career through the various movies he's acted in, like Pirates of the Caribbean and Edward Scissorhands. But yet he felt the need to own 14 homes. He spent $30,000 a month on wine and even $3 million to blast the ashes of the late Hunter Thompson out of a cannon. So he got in trouble with the IRS, and make a long story short, he couldn't afford his lifestyle. Nicolas Cage didn't make quite as much money, but $150 million, I think all of us would love to make. He also owned a bunch of homes, 15, and even spent crazy money like $150,000 on an octopus. So he also is in trouble with the IRS and slowly working his way out of it. So that's a key point. Live within your means, and you'll have your money work for you instead of against you. So as you know, in Plus Club, we have a number of local role models, people that have worked in your community, have grew up in your community. In this case, we're talking about Eric Pennington, the #2 person at Newark. He's responsible for a budget of over $1 billion managing Newark, in charge of about 3,000 people, including things like the police department, fire department, and all the administration that goes on there. And let's watch a clip where he talks about managing money and living within your means.
Living within your means is important. I've read over and over again that one of the best ways to have financial success is to save money, and the only way to save money is to spend less than you bring in. I agree with that as a general principle, but I also believe that it is important to reward yourself along the way. I do think it's important to have nice things and to help you. It's a motivator. It helps motivate you to keep going, to hopefully make more money and to have a better financial balance in your life so that you can, as you say, live within your means as you move forward. But I don't think that means be a pauper. I don't think that means don't treating yourself. It doesn't mean going to the movies and not having an ice cream or doing some of those things. I think those things are also important to do. But again, you have to do it with your ultimate goal in mind, and that is having financial stability, making sure that you are saving money and spending less than you bring in. But I don't think you should do so to the detriment of your own health and feeling good about yourself.
So let me open it up to the class. What do you think it means to live within your means? And, as a follow-up, what are some different ways you try to achieve this?
So, living within your means means really understanding your spending habits and understanding the things that you can afford. So, sometimes we tend to overspend on things, especially the things that we do not need. And it puts us in a little bubble as far as really finding ourselves having too many things. And living within your means isn't about being strict as far as not enjoying the fruits of your labor, but it's really just about understanding your spending habits and knowing as exactly like your gross income and what you make, so that way you can live an affordable lifestyle. And the different ways to achieve this is really just making sure that you're not overspending and just ensuring that you're keeping track of also the economy. So that way you know exactly where your money is going.
Great. Thank you, Mariah. Breanna, did you have some thoughts?
Yes, I would like to piggyback off of Mariah. I would just like to input that, like, I agree with her when she says that it's all about spending wisely and spending your income in a very mindful manner. You don't want to spend recklessly and you don't want to make impulsive purchases because it can lead to feelings of regret. And you may ask yourself, was this the right purchase for me to make? So I feel like living within your means is good to consider because it allows you to think twice before making the purchase. And it also allows you to give yourself a chance to make sensible decisions so that you won't have to, I guess you could say, regret it later.
Great. Thanks, Brianna. It's always good to ask yourself, do I really need this before you purchase something? Am I going to really use it 6, 12 months down the road? The answer is no, you may not need it. So maybe sometimes think twice before you make an expensive purchase. So in finance, we talk about budgeting, and Mariah mentioned her thoughts on budgeting a little bit as well. And in traditional budgeting, there's kind of spending about 50% of your income on your needs. So that could be when you're a student, maybe you're paying your cell phone bill. Maybe you're paying for some of your clothes. Maybe you're paying for some of your food. And then what you want, this is where some of the aspirational spending comes in. Obviously, you need shoes and clothes and things, but maybe you're saving for an expensive pair of Nike sneakers. That might be something that you aspire to save for, and you kind of save especially for that, but you don't want to do it all the time. And then, of course, obviously, we want you to build wealth over time. So a portion of your fund should be allocated towards savings. And we're going to talk about different ways of savings, putting money in a bank, earning interest, putting money eventually in the stock market, and other ways as well. Now, most of you have been on an airplane before, and they kind of teach you that in the event of emergency, kind of put on your own oxygen mask before you help others. So once you feel like you're on a firm foundation, on strong financial footing, we hope that, and you'll see this from a lot of the role models that are teaching in our class, that spending time and eventually some of your financial resources helping others is something you want to do. Obviously, it's helping other people, but you'll also feel great about it. So our kind of approach, we call it the Plus Club playbook approach to living within your means, is yes, you're spending that's still the same 50% on your needs and the same 20% on savings, but maybe you can reduce your wants a little bit. Instead of 30%, maybe 20%, and allocate 10% helping others once you feel like you're in good financial situation. So to kind of take away, with limited resources, students and young adults that are willing to incorporate this approach of living within your means, and also to prioritize saving so you can build wealth over time, as well as helping others. That's what we hope you eventually get to a position to be in.